I want to start this episode of Marvin's Room off by saying I apologize to anyone in the manifesting community, specifically manifesting a specific person community. I want to apologize to anyone out there who has used the coach and who has been extremely misled by an SP coach or the SP community as a whole. It is a complete travesty what's going on in this community and some of the experiences that some of you guys have experienced when trying to manifest a specific person back. My most recent story that was written to me last week by one of the viewers is the reason why I am so fired up about this topic right now. And have always been fired up, but to say that I am super fired up right now is an understatement. I am disgusted with so many coaches in this SP community, and I am disgusted at how manifestation has become perverted, like many things in life always get perverted, just like religion has become perverted, amongst other things, just like politics has become perverted. Nobody cares anymore about actually getting results. We all care about this microwave manifestation stuff, getting our stuff overnight, and then we wonder why we are suffering so much. It's because we're not laying a solid foundation. So many coaches in this business are profiting off of your pain, and it is to your detriment. To those of you who haven't heard my recent story that a viewer wrote into me via email about her experience trying to manifest the SP, I highly encourage you to go back and watch that video of Tim and I reading that email and kind of digesting it from Tim's point of view in that video. I'm going to leave it in the description below. So make sure you go watch that video. I'll probably link it at the end of this video as well, just in case you don't click on the description and make it through the entire video. But in that video, the viewer had discussed how she was promised that she was going to get her specific person back in 3 weeks, and it ended up being a 2.5-year journey of her just going through a bunch of ups and downs and different emotions while trying to manifest her specific person. And at the end of the day, she got ghosted, and she found out however many months later that her person had been married and was expecting a kid. But you know what really hurt me about this person's story was the gaslighting that they were receiving from the SP community, as well as the coaches, specifically the coaches, because I don't blame people in the SP community as much as I blame the coaches, because in my opinion, if you're going to teach this stuff, you need to be aware of what you're telling somebody, and you need to be aware of the potential outcome that is going to happen with said person that you are working with one-on-one. This person was literally told that it was okay to keep going back to her SP and continuing to sleep with him because it was considered movement, that she should be happy because at least she has movement, at least she's in touch with her specific person, considering a lot of people in the SP community are not in touch with their specific person. Let me say this to everybody out there listening to this. It is not considered movement, in my opinion, if what you're doing, you are feeling immense guilt and shame, etc. Any negative feeling behind your act, if you were feeling any of that negative feeling, it is not considered movement, even if you are in touch with your SP. The fact that multiple coaches told this young woman to keep going back to her SP and to keep hooking up with him, sleeping with him, because that was movement, even though it was messing up her mental, that is not coaching to me. But see, this is what people in this community do. People in this community, for the sake of making a buck, they will keep telling you what you want to hear. They will gas you up. They will literally put diesel fuel in your tank. They will literally put premium fuel in your tank so you can keep coming back to them so they can make money. The selfishness from these coaches in this community is a travesty to me. So many of these coaches are selfish, in my opinion, and they really have no interest in helping you with coaching. They have no interest in helping you understand the law. They have no interest in helping you understand the nuance behind all of this discussion. All they care about is fuck you, pay me. Yeah, I said it. Fuck you, pay me. And they are doing a disservice to so many coaches in this industry who might actually be very good coaches and actually looking to coach you. And furthermore, to be very honest with all of you, what a lot of these people, a lot of these coaches in the manifesting community, what a lot of these coaches are doing is not even considered coaching, in my opinion. I don't think a lot of you out there really understand what coaching means. And I think a lot of people out there don't really understand what actually comes with coaching and how long coaching actually takes. The reality for a lot of you out there, you have to understand that coaching is not a one-time thing. When you want to get coached on something, coaching is never a one-time thing. Whether you are an athlete, whether you are trying to learn an instrument, I mean, whatever the career field may be, you're trying to learn a trade or whatever, when you're trying to get coached on something, it's not a one-time thing. You got to understand that when you go to spend your money with somebody, you actually want to get coached. You don't want to pay somebody a few $100 at least, if not thousands, on just giving you affirmations to say. I said this in my past videos before. Paying somebody a few $100 for them to give you a couple of affirmations to say, that's not coaching. And the reality is, for most of us, for most people, it's going to take you way longer than you think it's going to take you to manifest a specific person back. It's going to take you way longer than you think to actually understand coaching and understand LOA and to get it down packed, and to deal with your anxiety, to deal with how you react to things in the 3D, to deal with your mental state, to deal with your inner dialogue, to deal with your trauma. I mean, this stuff takes time, which is why coaching is not a one-time thing or a two-time thing. But a lot of these coaches on YouTube, they make it sound like, oh, all you gotta do is pay me this one lump sum of money and then I'm gonna help you in 1 or 2 sessions. No, the reality of it is this is gonna be a journey for most people. Most people, it's probably gonna take you a good 6 months to a year, if not longer, to actually get through and understand manifestation and understand your specific person and understand the right way to manifest them back and not to manifest them back the wrong way like so many people have. And it's going to take you some time. That's the sad reality of it for a lot of people that you don't want to hear. The thing that I realize is most of these coaches, when they work with people one-on-one, they very rarely go into depth with you on how to really solve your problems in relationships or how to really solve your problems when it comes to anything in your life. It's always the same thing. Oh, just ignore the 3D. Okay, yes, I understand you're telling me to ignore the 3D, but how? How do I ignore the 3D? Why do I need to ignore the 3D? Oh, all you have to do is affirm my SP is madly obsessed with me. But how? Why? Why is that gonna work? How is that gonna work? People don't ask pre-qualifying questions about your past, because so many coaches, I realize, is they take a one-size-fits-all approach. They read Neville and they think, oh, Neville says this, so this is all you have to do, not understanding it's nuanced. You can't just say that, oh, it's a one-size-fits approach, because your situation and your story and your fears and your anxieties and your traumas are different than the next person. There's billions of people in this world. You cannot sit here and tell me that the answer to everybody is to simply just affirm. That's not going to work for most people. And you can't put a time frame on when somebody is going to manifest whatever manifestation they want, whenever they're going to get their specific person. I also had a guy recently leave in the comment of the video saying that he had worked with one of the other popular content creators in this area. That guy, Be Something Wonderful.
This is your curator, Tom Karen. Be Something Wonderful.
Yeah, that guy. On how he told him to expect movement in 48 hours. And guess what happened? 48 hours later, there was no movement. And guess what happened after that? 8 months or so later, he found out that his person was moved on and had gotten proposed to and gotten married. So my question to you,
Be Something Wonderful.
why didn't he get movement in 48 hours? Why did his person end up getting married 7 months, 8 months later? I'll tell you why. Because you're misleading the people that are watching your videos and making them think if they do something X, Y, and Z the way however you're telling them to do, you're making them think that they're going to get results. And even Neville himself said the gestation period is unknown. So if Neville Goddard himself didn't know the gestation period, how the hell are you going to know the gestation period for somebody that you're working with? Any coach that gives you a time frame, just like this young woman that I'm talking about in this video, she was told 3 weeks, and then 2.5 years later, nothing happened. And then all of a sudden, her person is married and expecting or proposed and is expecting a child with somebody. 9 times out of 10, anytime a coach gives you a deadline and tells you, oh yeah, just follow this, something, and you're going to see results in 24 hours or 48 hours, run the other way. They don't know what they're talking about. They're lying, because none of us know the gestation period. Just like Neville said, for a hen to lay its egg, it takes however many days. For a horse to give birth and have babies, it takes what, a year? For a human, it takes 9 months. We all have different gestation periods. We literally have no clue when our manifestation is going to unfold. I can understand a coach saying to you, oh, it's probably going to take you roughly a year or 2 years to maybe see some change or to maybe see some sort of results or some movement potentially. I could see them wording it and saying it something like that. But if they are giving you a definitive answer and saying, just like this example I gave you, in 48 hours you're going to see movement, or in 3 weeks you're going to see movement, please do yourself a favor and save yourself the anxiety and heartache, because it probably isn't going to happen in 48 hours. It probably isn't going to happen in 3 weeks. I'm not saying that to tell you, oh, law of attraction, law of assumption doesn't work. I'm saying it because we have proof in our lives, just as well as Neville gave examples in his book, that we don't know when our desired reality is going to just boom, pop up and we're going to shift realities just like that. We don't know when that's going to happen. So that's why Neville always talks about to persist, because we have to persist until we see it, until it comes into fruition. I'm just really irritated at the lack of coaching in this community, because coaching is not really what's going on in this community. Real coaching in this community is lacking, and that is what myself and Tim Grimes, as well as Agnes and maybe a couple others, this is what we're trying to present and provide with some of you guys in the LOA community, because the LOA community has become extremely perverted, especially on TikTok. YouTube is getting bad, but TikTok is 100 times worse than YouTube, in my opinion, when it comes to this manifesting content. And all of these creators are making it sound like all you got to do is just live in the end. All you got to do is just revise. Just do this, just do that. There's literally no coaching. And you have to understand, coaching is literally detail oriented, and coaching is based on a person by person basis. Coaching is not one size fits all. And what I'm seeing is so many coaches, all they do, if a coach only deals with affirmations, they will literally get hundreds of dollars from somebody and just give them affirmations and say, repeat these affirmations. That's not coaching. Coaching is so much more detail oriented and so much more specific. If coaching was that easy, you would see everybody around here walking around with everything that they ever wanted in their life if coaching was that easy. Coaching is extremely detail oriented. It's extremely minute. It has to be catered and tailored to each individual person. Affirmations, they might have worked for you, but that doesn't mean they're going to work for the next person that comes along and needs your help, because the next person that comes along and needs your help, they might have gone through things in their life that are 10 times worse than what the person you helped previously went through. You have to take all of that into account. And a great coach, in my opinion, takes all of that into account and doesn't just give affirmations to everybody that comes along and says, oh yeah, I know you've been through trauma. Oh yeah, I know you were assaulted, but yeah, just repeat these 5 affirmations and you'll probably get over being assaulted at some point in your life. Oh yeah, I know you were beaten as a child. Here, just say these affirmations, these 5 affirmations, and I'm sure that's going to heal you from the trauma that you received from being beaten as a child. For most people, it don't work like that. So to this young lady in the video, kudos to you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing your story. You are a winner and you are going to win. I have no doubt. The self-awareness you have is unbelievable compared to so many people. The fact that you were able to learn from your mistakes at such an early age, I don't want you to think for 1 second that you feel like you wasted your 20s. Let me tell you this, you did not waste a good chunk of your 20s. You didn't even waste a good chunk of your life. You have so much time left. You are so ahead of the game. You have no idea. And the fact that you are starting now, you got to understand, there are people that are starting in their 40s, in their 50s, in their 60s that wish they could trade places with you. And I want you to understand that no matter how much you go through in your life, there are always millions of people, if not billions of people, that would love to trade places with you, even though your situation was as bad as it was. And that's a fact. I'm extremely excited to see what the future is going to hold for you, because you have experienced everything that you've gone through and you have come out on the other side, and you see and you are awake now and you see what's really going on. You have figured out what you really need to do as far as self-love, self-concept work. And I'm super excited because I have no doubt that you're going to win, and this next relationship you get is going to be a million times better than anything you could have thought of if you continue to go down this path and to do the work. The reality is I know the internet makes it seem like most people are successful, or most people are doing this, or most people are doing that, but most people in their teens and in their 20s, they don't have life figured out. Most people in their 30s don't have life figured out. What I've noticed is a lot of people don't start figuring life out until maybe some point in their late 30s, maybe their early 40s, and people don't really start hitting their earning potential when it comes to money and finances and that type of stuff. People don't hit that stride until sometime in their 40s. And I think for men, it's even in their 50s when they reach their full maximum earning potential. So when you hear all of that, I want you to hear that and keep in mind that you are not behind, even though it may feel like you are behind. I know it may feel like you went through this devastating loss of a person and you were gaslit and you just had all of these negative experiences. And I get it, rightfully so. And I tell you and encourage you to feel that pain and embrace it. Don't run from it, because that's what a lot of people do, is they try to run from it instead of going through it. But in order to get to it, a lot of times people have to go through it. So rejoice, because you're over that hump. The hardest part, you're over that. So now you are at that next part to where it's really just healing, and it's going to be fun. And days are going to be up and days are going to be down. But as long as you don't quit, it'll be up and down, up and down, up and down. But the trajectory is always going to be up, going this way. So you have a lot to look forward to. This story is just a part of your life that has made you stronger. This story is just a part of your life that's going to make you who you are. It's going to turn you into the best version of yourself, because like I've said in past videos, when we deal with things with specific persons, when we deal with things in relationships are the best indicators a lot of times with where we're at as people, with how we feel about ourselves. Relationships are our greatest teachers with our significant others. They teach us the greatest lessons about ourselves. They teach us patience. They teach us perseverance. They teach us where we need to work on. They teach us where we might not need to work on. Relationships are the greatest mirror to how far you've come or how far you still need to go in order to become to that ultimate person you want to be. So to everybody out there, be very careful when you are trying to decide and pick a coach that you want to work with. Be very, very careful, because understand the bright shiny object a lot of times is not the object that you actually want to pick up. And a lot of you guys get fooled by the fluff. You get fooled by, oh, this person has 100,000 subs or 500,000 subs. They must know what they're talking about. They must be good. No. Subscriber count does not mean and dictate how good a coach is. It's shiny object syndrome. Don't fall for the shiny object syndrome. Don't fall for people telling you what you want to hear. You need to go to people who are going to tell you what you need to hear and actually coach you on the details of this stuff. Coach you on the nuance. Nuance. I had a viewer say to me in a comment before, if I hear the word nuance one more time. So I had to say it like that just for you. Nuance. And that's exactly what a good coach does, is they provide nuance. And that's exactly what myself and what Tim are looking to do. Me and Tim are in the process of creating a breakthrough coaching program for you guys in the beginning of this summer, starting in the beginning of this summer. And it's only for people who really want to go in depth with this stuff. If you don't want to go in depth with your self-concept, if you don't want to go in depth with trying to manifest a specific person and really healing your past and really healing your childhood and really getting down to the bottom of why you can't get an SP or why it's taking so long, or why you're struggling to manifest a new specific person, if you're trying to manifest a new specific person. If you don't want to do any of that, don't hit me and Tim up for this coaching program, because this coaching program is not going to be a quick fix type of coaching program. What Tim and I are looking to offer is, like I said, more in-depth, more personal with him and myself. And this program is probably going to last at least a year, but it's going to be damn worth it, if not longer, because we may give you guys a year and then we may give you guys another year for free. I know a lot of you guys think that you're going to get your SP in 48 hours and you guys go to those coaches who make those kinds of guarantees. But the truth of the reality is 9 times out of 10, 90% of y'all are not going to get your SP in 48 hours. You're not going to get your SP in a week. You're not even going to get your SP in a month. And a lot of you probably aren't going to get your SPs in 6 months to a year. And that's just the reality of it. What Tim and I are looking to offer is, like I said, more in-depth, more personal, because what Tim and I are looking to do is we are looking for true transformational change. We are not looking to put a Band-Aid over whatever wound you have, because you cannot put a Band-Aid over a bullet wound. And the reality is a lot of you guys that are trying to manifest a new relationship or an old relationship back, the reality is a lot of you guys are trying to put a Band-Aid over a bullet wound. And that's exactly what a lot of these coaches that you're working with are teaching you to do, is they're teaching you to put a Band-Aid over a bullet wound with an affirmation. That is not going to work. And they're making unrealistic guarantees that are not going to happen. I just gave you 2 examples in this video of people that were given guarantees that did not happen. And both of their people went on to get engaged or to get married, and one even has a baby on the way. So what Tim and I are looking to do is we're looking to give you guys real life advice on how to deal with your SP situations in the 3D, as well as how to deal with your SP situations using LOA, but to give you guys real advice and practical advice, and not to gas your heads up and not to lie and mislead you on how this thing is really going to work. Because me and Tim are not going to guarantee you're going to get your SP back in a certain time frame, because we don't know. But what we will guarantee, but what I am safe to guarantee you, is that you're going to have a transformational change if you decide to join this program that Tim and I are going to launch at the beginning of this summer. You're going to have a transformational change in how you view yourself. You're going to have a transformational change on how you view relationships. And this is going to pave the way for you to have the best relationship ever in your life, whether that's you getting an old SP or you getting a brand new SP. So make sure you stay tuned, because Tim and I are going to be presenting some of you with a questionnaire that you can fill out to determine if we are going to be a good fit to work out. And anybody that fills out the questionnaire and it seems like we are a good fit, you will most likely be able to get a free consultation with Tim and myself to proceed on how we can potentially work further. Big things are in the process of happening, because it's time to get back to real coaching and not this microwave fluff shit that's going on in the industry.